Hey, Altar Guild. This is a video to walk through the process that we've been using to sense, to put incense into the sanctuary prior to the services. So this is something that we're going to be doing every day, every Sunday. On the high feast days, on holy days, we're going to process in with the thurible. That's the device that holds kind of like this. This is what I have at home. It's a little bit different, a little bit smaller, but we'll process in on holy days. And then this is the process that we've been using to sense the space prior to worship, just to give that really pleasant aroma and kind of ambiance without overwhelming people, on a daily basis. So I'm going to just walk us through the process. So we've got these little charcoal briquettes back in the sacristy. Apologies, the quality on this might be a little low. I'm using my webcam instead of my phone. I couldn't quite get that set up. But these are the little charcoal briquettes. They have a tendency to get a little dried out and lose their fuel or whatever they put in there, the accelerant to get them going. So what we've been doing is there's a little glass container just of some alcohol back there, and you can see, hopefully this will show up. When you put it in there, it'll start to bubble, right? Because that liquid is now soaking into the charcoal briquette. This is just alcohol. And so when you drop it in there, maybe it'll take a minute or two. And after a little bit, it'll just stop bubbling because it's soaked up about as much alcohol as it's going to soak up. And that'll help this ignite. So typically, while that's going, I'll walk you through. Typically, I start this process at about 9:45 in the morning. So I'll drop the charcoal briquette in the alcohol at 9:45. After a minute or two, I'll take it out. I'll put it inside the thurible. I haven't wrapped this very prettily, but we do have a layer of foil in there just to kind of preserve and protect the metal a little bit. The charcoal briquette will go in there. You'll ignite it. And then usually by 10 o'clock, that charcoal briquette has ashed over. We're ready to add the incense to it and walk through the space. So at this point, what I'll do is I've got some little tongs, and I'll take my charcoal briquette and I'll place it in the thurible. And I'll take my lighter and I'll just go ahead and move that a little bit further away from my computer monitor, light that up. And so I'm going to move the alcohol a little further away. I'm going to go ahead and just basically cut to when this charcoal is ready to put the incense on. That's going to be about, like I said, about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes or so. Okay, hey, I'm back, and I've let this burn for a little bit. Unfortunately, my little tiny thurible is actually too kind of small, I think, for these charcoal briquettes, so I don't get a great oxygen flow on it. But you can kind of hopefully at least see just a little bit how this has started to ash over at the top. If you're familiar with barbecuing or stuff like that, that's where you want your charcoal to be, right? And so once this is kind of ashed over, this is hot right now, and so that's when we can go ahead and set the incense on. And so at church, once this is ashed over, about 10 or 15 minutes, around 10 o'clock or so, if you started at 9:45, you can go ahead and we've got a bag of frankincense that you can use. And what I've been doing is, I don't know, kind of a pretty healthy pinch or so, maybe a little bit more than that. Maybe a couple teaspoons to a tablespoon. We don't need to do too much. You can definitely overdo it. And so, this stuff literally just the incense goes right on. And you can see that starts to smoke. So the thing that I'll mention is that the sacristy does actually have a smoke detector in there. So once you get the incense on the coal, you'll want to move pretty quickly just so that you don't set off that smoke detector in the sacristy. Unfortunately, I don't have the big thurible with the chains to kind of show you as an example. But I would encourage you to just take a couple minutes. You can see the three different chains, how they come together into one piece. They kind of come up and then that'll be your anchor. And that's where you'll hold and kind of use that to swing around. And then what I do is I literally just go ahead and I walk around the whole space. I go out onto the stage, the chancel, right? And I will swing the thurible around that way. It kind of moves the air. You're kind of throwing that scent all around. So I'll sense the chancel. I'll sense the altar quite a bit. And then I'll walk down and I'll sense the main space of the sanctuary and then the back space. And then I'll go up and down the hallways a little bit. And then I will also take it into the Sunday school room while they're finishing up Sunday school. That room does tend to have, let's say, a less than pleasant aroma, and so it's nice to get in there as well and help kind of foster that. And so then once you've maybe let's call it 10 minutes worth of kind of walking around and sensing the various spaces, you can go ahead and just take it. And what I've been doing honestly is I've been either setting it outside if it's got still kind of a lot of incense going, just to minimize the total amount of incense that we're putting into the room, or I'll if it doesn't seem like there's that much left, I'll actually just set it on the stairs where we go up to the chancel for where the altar is. That way it can kind of still continue to kind of let out that last little bit of aroma and less chance of it getting kicked over or lost or misplaced there. And so once that just burns out by the end of the service, it's pretty easy to just go ahead and you'll dump out whatever's left of some kind of burnt up incense or junk or whatever. That coal shouldn't be hot, but double check as you're kind of dumping things out that you're not putting the hot coal into the trash can. But after an hour and a half or so of service, it really should not be still hot. This is something I guess I didn't mention at the start is, you will probably want to check inside that foil just to make sure there isn't too much buildup of old gunk that's been burnt up. And just kind of, I take my fingers and just kind of scoop it out and throw it into the trash can. Yeah, that should be kind of the basic procedure that we've been using. For these first two Sundays that I'll be away, my family's on a little road trip. Luke will be in charge of either sensing the space or finding someone to do that. So don't worry about that for these first couple Sundays. This is something that we'd ideally like to see kind of scheduled out as part of the Altar Guild as well. So I'll just make quick note while I've got you on a video. I'll send a message in Signal on this as well. But I think that we're going to try moving to a system of kind of like rolling rotations on the Altar Guild. We have a lot of volunteers, which is wonderful. But what it means is that somebody kind of assists with Holy Communion maybe once every 8 or 9, 10 weeks. And so what can often happen, right, is just with that long delay, forgetting little steps, procedures, or, it's just doesn't kind of allow for, I think, like sort of the best process there. And so what we're going to try and look at is maybe do we kind of basically have a rotation that, for 2 or 3 months, it rotates through 4 people, and then you're off for several months after that. So we'll be trying a system like that. Obviously, feedback on any of that. If you have any questions about this process around incense, do let me know. Thank you so much for your service on the Altar Guild. It is such a joy to serve with you guys and to be a part of Trinity. And y'all have been so helpful and wonderful in really beautifying and raising the bar on how we celebrate the Lord's Supper in our services. So thank you so much. God bless.